We may not use that for creatives, but how do we extend our supporting arm to these sectors? You find that one thing that still grounds us is the why. Why are you doing what you do? That's the blueprint, not your business model, how you're going to make money. Those things can come. You have a community, find a way to monetize it. That's fine. That's your job for your salesperson to figure out. You as the
founder, the owner of the vision.
Just sell the vision. Just make sure people understand your why.
Whoa.
That's as simple as that. I've seen this gentleman of Cafe Javas from Mandela Group. The guy serves tea in his restaurants. Actually,
the owner himself. Yeah.
Yes, because he knows why. Right.
So he found a believer.
Yes.
And then he multiplied them.
Yes.
That's an excerpt from the conversation that I had with Ivan Sewajje. He is a dad and a brand enthusiast with over 8 years of managerial and execution. He is equipped with a T-shaped skill set with a background rooted in brand strategy. He has experience in building brands and visual communications. His expertise is in integrated communication strategy building, digital solutions, creative concepts, and interactive media design. He is interested in psychology, how people think and make decisions, and how this applies to brands. In the month of January, we are talking about strategy, and we are dealing with brand strategists, having a conversation with them and learning what we can be able to learn from them going forward, given that we are strategizing and positioning ourselves to have very many harvests in the rest of the year. So you're gonna listen to this instructive communication and conversation. It was very deep.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
Life Signatures episodes are brought to you by AfricanBooks.com, which is an online ebook platform that seeks to broadcast the African Christian voice to the world. As such, they have become a hub for African content, connecting African writers and publishers with a global reading audience. Publishing your books on their site is free and easy, with authors having full control over their content and the price they choose to sell at it. I was personally blown away by the concept that AfricanBooks.com is coming up with. Things like no content from their site or their app is going to be run on laptops so that people can easily copy. In other words, your content as a writer is restricted from digital multiplication or digital copying. So you remain intact with your information. And the other concept that I got so blown away with was the fact that in some time to come, in due course, AfricanBooks.com will be starting to announce African Writer of the Year. In other words, there will be competitions in all African countries to figure out who is the best published author. And I also fell in love with the fact that countries can actually compete against each other. You can have African authors going at it after each other, and your book as an author will be reviewed and have some stars and recommended upon that particular platform. The thing is that it's an answer to Amazon.com. You know, with Amazon, what happens? You've got to have an account in the Americas or whatever, or in Europe before you can get paid as an author. But here, the local currency is in play and the local means of getting paid are in play. So to get started, go to africanbooks.com as an author or as a publisher and even as a reader if you wanted to read your African favorite authors. Enjoy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever place it is you're tuned on to Life Signatures podcast. My name is Lawrence Namale, and this is a Wednesday, which means we are having a conversation on a particular topic. In this month, our topic is brand strategy. We are living in a day and in an age where branding is a massive must, not just for corporates. It's even for individuals. And so I made a journey to talk to an expert in that area. And we are doing this conversation at Motive in Bugolobi. Is this Bugolobi, by the way?
Yeah, it's Bugolobi.
Yeah, one of the existing... Oh, tell me about Motive. Just tell the guys about Motive a bit.
Oh, yeah. Happy. Glad to speak to Motive about this. So... For me to clearly speak about Motive, I'm supposed to tell you the entire agenda. So it's also a bit strategic. Mm-hmm. So it starts with the Innovation Village.
Right.
So the Innovation Village is built to help entrepreneurs and businesses that are thriving under tech.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But now, we quickly realize that
we're leaving out
a few numbers of people that are also doing stuff in different sectors.
Yeah.
That includes creative and the blue collar, right? I mean, I can create stuff, but I'm not doing that with technology. So, hey, how can you help me? You say you help entrepreneurs. So that quickly evolved into Motive. Motive, from a strategic standpoint, simply means makers of the Innovation Village.
MOTIV.
Exactly. But
makers of the and it's a very nice word, very nice name, because the word motive, we know what it means in English.
So this also moves into our strategic branding thing.
Yeah.
Because then it has a story behind it.
Yeah.
But then also it motivates. It is motive.
Yeah. Who came up with that?
Well, it is
a team.
It's the team. It's a collaborative effort. Like, you can't build a brand alone.
Yeah.
But it always goes back to the values of Innovation Village. How do we help these guys? And then that informs on even how we name the brand.
Yeah.
And how we then disperse it and distribute it.
Yeah. We're going to talk a bit about branding later on, but let's talk about Ivan. You see, you have a story, right? I heard your story on another podcast, and I was shocked that at some point in time you were angling to become a doctor.
Yes.
Right?
That's true.
And you had the brains for it and all that stuff. So how do you end up into brand strategy?
There is psychology of living.
Yeah.
And people don't know that everything that they do right now is sort of built under strategy. It is not by a mistake that we're having this conversation. It's probably small things that you told yourself that led to this grand idea. Now, I'm the kind of person who believes in predeterminism as a belief on, with God, and also believe that change is always there to attack you if you want or not. So the predeterminism is in a way of brand in its sense. So if you don't do certain things about yourself, there is something built for you.
I kind of believe in that somehow, because I do, even you as a creative.
Yes.
When you want something to function in some way, what do? You put inside of it the capacity for it to function that way.
Exactly.
Like this microphone. It is predetermined to do what it's doing right now.
Exactly.
How much about the human being? Exactly. I do believe that the way you appear here and the things that you do Probably there is skill in it, but there is also some seed of predeterminism.
Exactly.
God put inside of you those things so that you can be able to function the way you're functioning.
Yeah, and my assumption is, I tend to even for those people that don't believe in God, I tend to build the predeterminism concept from even the way nature works.
Yeah.
Right? So Ivan has distributed himself closely on how things are supposed to be. Like, you can fight it, you can do all you want, but it will still catch up on you. So I keep on saying this. When we have kids, for example, there's only much you can do, and there are things you will do to control how that child is going to turn into. You will put them to good schools, but you can't
create
control
an environment that they can thrive.
And say maybe I want you to go to a medical school because I know it's a rich sector. It would help you maybe form into something. That is your view of who you want the child to become, not theirs, right?
And not even the one who made them.
Exactly. So the predeterminism, we use the concept of the parent, and there's going to be cues, like little cues every single day that would drive you into exactly where you're supposed to be. So for me, my example is different. I have a very strong footing from the Catholic fraternity. Because my parents thought, well, they wanted me to become a priest. Funny, right? But here I am, right? Then,
sorry. I'm just trying to picture Ivan as a priest.
Exactly.
It's not making sense at all.
You see that image of why would anyone think of me as I am now as a priest? It doesn't really work. The image, you can't even start thinking about the image of me in a cassock and actually preaching to people. It's very different. Even myself thinking about it, it bothers me. Like, how would I actually do?
But then you took steps towards that.
Exactly.
Whoa.
So you think, you say, okay, my parents, I use this example that there's some things that you can teach your kids. The world is ready to teach on behalf of you. So they were like, okay, there's some values we would like to teach your kids, but we can't. How do you respect people? How do you speak in public? How do you, all those things take a lot of time and dedication, yet there are institutions that are built for such stuff. And whereas we can disagree on so many things about fraternities and religion, the Catholic Church has posed to build stuff in someone that probably the world would have ignored, right? There's simple things like I don't whistle because we've never found reason for anyone to whistle. Why would you whistle at someone? Okay, and then you snap your fingers or whistle at someone. First we look at it as barbaric. So those simple small values,
and they're still inside of you.
I do not whistle at anyone. Why would I do that?
Wow.
And it's not something that is punishable, but if you whistled in seminary, they will really look at you weird.
You will never want to do it ever again.
So, this journey of a guy who was trying to become a priest, because that is what my parents thought would really give them mileage. I thought maybe they thought that is what their kids would be. All three boys went to a seminary, but unfortunately no one actually made it. So we move in there.
I'm sure the parents they might not necessarily be disappointed. They like what they see so far. So there's that element of, hey, we achieved 70% of what we wanted,
and none of us is doing badly. We are not outcasts or people that look at, I mean, society accepts us.
You're not some guys who are black sheep in society.
Exactly.
You're transforming society in your own capacities.
Exactly. And I think that is also some of the ways how then the parents would say, hey, I built this block, he stepped on it, and then instead of like doing the opposite, he's actually transforming, or the things that were instilled from the beginning, they weren't making sense before, but now they actually do. So around the time when I was doing my seminary time, go ahead doing seminary because it's quite huge. I met this really wonderful priest, and when you enter a seminary, it's like army, because they have values.
They are stringent, discipline, order, right?
So respect, self-discovery, understanding who you really are at the core. Your nakedness, your naked consciousness. So there's those things no one tells you about in this world that you actually get to know.
But they happen in the seminary.
Yes.
Whoa, that's rich.
Exactly.
Let's just camp there for a minute. Don't you think everyone needs that? It's done in the seminary, yes. But don't you think everyone needs that?
It is painful.
But it's needed.
So
don't you think so?
I do think, yes, it is very much needed, but the world has its own way. The world has its own way of letting that happen without necessarily putting descriptions to it, if you know what I mean, right? Whereas it's needed, not everyone is going to be receptive, depending on how we grow. We might find it as torture, or...
I guess what I was asking is it valuable?
It is, 100%. I've never seen an ex-seminarian treating someone badly, right? Well, because that is exactly how we're built, right? We don't do things for money, we serve, right? Stuff like that. But again, those are only things that would help a priest deliver what they're supposed to deliver. I respect them so much because of what they've gone through. So now I understand that then that sort of, when you join the seminary, they'll give you what they call a spiritual priest or a spiritual guide.
It's like a guy, physical guy.
Like a mentor.
A mentor, there you go.
So it is not for them to keep on talking about God, how do you become a priest, but also to look introspectively and ask, okay, is this what you really want? Are you sure?
Kind of like giving you a window of opportunity to think again.
Exactly.
Right.
Because it's an investment of so much time that if you lost it without the realism of understanding why you are doing it in the first place, it will become really hard for you.
Right, I get you.
So they will give you this person, and then that person will actually keep on guiding you. What do you really want as a person? What are you interested in? Not necessarily talking about, there's this in priesthood, because priesthood is entirely serving people, and is it your devotion? Because we are called to serve God in so many different ways. You don't have to be a priest to serve God, right? And that realization comes in when you speak to someone who's actually serving in that regard. So I did get an opportunity to speak to a priest, remember that he was one of our chemistry teacher. So priests also serve like teachers. So this gentleman tells me, Ivan, you're really good at what you do, but I don't see you as a priest. Bluntly, it was so painful. And much as I really wanted to, because I had this idea in me, priests do these things, they help people, they pray for people, and so on and so forth. I wanted it. It had grown into an idea that I thought I would actually deliver. But this guy tells me, you can do so many other things. But imagine investing all 6 years. You go to a course, 3 more years. You go to an extra service of 4 or 5 years, and then you don't become a priest. So you have to go back because the degree is not highly employable here. You're not getting a degree in philosophy and theology. You come back here with that degree, you're not going to get a job easily. So you're supposed to understand what all that means. Right? So this gentleman tells me all that, gives me the guidance, and I found it really useful. He tells me you can serve God in so many other ways. Even matrimony, you can actually have a family have a child and love it, and find someone, love your neighbor as you love yourself. That is one of the ways you could serve God. Not necessarily being on the altar, practicing holy Eucharist. It's good. There's so many people that are devoted to that,
but it's not for Ivan.
It may not be for Ivan. But again, it's a blank check. You go and check yourself.
Right? It's not like doing what your parents were doing. He's giving you an opportunity to think through.
So that was one of the ways I sort of morphed into what I'm doing now. So I I did really good. I did good at sciences, so I got an opportunity to join the medical school, paid by the government, right? So,
which means you performed so well that the government is like, let's sponsor this guy.
One of the things people don't know about seminaries, there are no mediocre students, not at all.
Yeah,
they rather exit someone who they would rather keep someone who is probably not as good mannered, because they know those things can change, than keep someone who is academically incompetent. So it's that bad. All the people that are around have either scored highly, or they have like progressive result orientation,
and they have promise in them, potential. Wow,
it's one of those schools that don't get talked about in press.
in the press, like this is the SMARC or the whatever. Okay,
but they're always 99%. Always. I've never seen a year that is 98. Never.
So now you go to medical school.
Yes.
Did you finish?
No, I did only 1 year, only one semester.
Okay. You saw dead bodies?
Yes, I did.
Weren't you like scared? You guys were supposed to dissect dead bodies.
So they start preparing you mentor on how the body works. They'll give you what they call a cadaver.
Yeah, it's a plastic thing.
No, a real body.
Huh? Okay.
So the cadaver is supposed to help you understand how the body works, and then you sort of build, you build your knowledge. So every time there is like maybe an experiment to happen or a surgery, you're actually supposed to open that body, get to understand how the heart works, how the nervous system works, and so on and so forth. So all that was really traumatizing, and I couldn't. Now there's a ward in Mulago where all casualties land. Now that if you ever doubt the gift of life, go to that ward. If you don't faint, you will puke. If you don't, you will sweat. You will
not be the same.
You will never live the same. So that space also sort of helped me understand: is this really the mountain you want to die on? Is this what you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
So, I put all that into consideration and I left. Without even letting my parents know.
Cool. So it's interesting. So leaving, did you like have an idea where you're going?
No, but I know that my family is an artistic family.
Yeah.
Both my parents really.
The gift is there.
Yeah, my mom has knowledge in music. My dad is a very good painter, and my brothers are all painters and artists. I have a sister who is an artist. So it has been flowing in our blood. I had that. Actually did BCM and I stopped art. So I had an opportunity to go to UCU to pursue the arts. And again, I've been flowing in the arms and guidance of so many priests. Around that time, there was a priest that held my hand and he said that they would help me pay for the tuition. Because how would you tell your parents that, hey, I've left
medicine
that was fully covered for by the government, or even getting handouts, and you don't know where to start from, probably because of how you feel. We're not that educated at least not that era, to understand that, hey, this is what they want.
Today's world, at least, we're warming up to the idea that you can actually live something that people think has money in it, and you pursue your so-called passion.
Exactly. So I started UCU, was really nice, and I did my bachelor's in industrial art and design, and it worked so well. So
you loved it?
Yes, I did. So remember, the seminary is mostly psychological. You understand and analyze people all the time. When someone speaks, you take a step down and internalize what they're talking about, and then you speak. If you talk to a student, they will never speak to you. Like, you can't have barely related conversations between one another. It's normally someone speaks, you listen, and internalize and then speak back. So all that helped me understand how people think when they're starting their organizations, when they're starting businesses. And coming from a serving sort of footprint, that also helped me understand that the job that I choose to pick now is not going to be for money, it has to be for service. Right? So I have to build my brand so well that people see me as someone who is going to look at their business, either take the money or even leave it. As long as I should believe in what you're doing for me to do your work.
Yeah, you've done quite a bit of my work. But before you can even get there, the question is, you see, there are very many guys, probably I'm guessing, who have done the exact same course that you're doing. And they're thinking, for the most part, our thinking is linear, degree, job.
Yeah.
Right? Well, how was it for you?
Honestly, society here, that's the game.
Yeah.
You need to have a paper.
Yeah.
Right? It is never a conversation of he knows how to do whatever it is he's doing, and that's really good. Let's give him an opportunity. It is always,
where's your paper?
Where are your papers?
Yeah.
So, but again, coming from the serving environment, it allows for you to create people, friends, and meet so many people, right? So for me, it has always been, what are you doing? What problem are you solving? And how can I help you see it to life?
So for you, what I hear you saying, Ivan, is, because now let's talk about the graphics and so on. Graphics is just the end, the tail end.
It's just an element.
It's an element. It's like the front end. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, basically visualizing your entire idea.
Yeah,
that's all.
But now the idea is what transformation is.
Yes.
It's making.
Yes.
That's what informs what colors you're going to use, what designs you're going to use, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So maybe, taking a step closer to the brand strategy.
Yeah.
It's simple. It's your why.
Why are you doing what you're doing?
It's very simple.
Yeah.
And who are you talking to? And are they the right people?
Who are you serving, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And are they the right people? Because honestly,
you can't serve everybody.
No. If this brilliant Signatures Radio podcast was, and there's so many people that will listen to it and they won't understand what you're talking about.
It's true.
Because they are not the people you're actually serving.
Yeah, it's true.
So let me just break it down. Yeah. Everyone brands every day. Everyone
is a walking brand every day.
You know how that works? When you walk in a room, people say you bring in a certain aura. Right? When you leave that room, people start discussing your matter behind your back. Right? So just like that same concept. So it's branding. In this case, it's a business, not an individual. It's when you wake up and say, okay, this is the shirt I'm going to put on.
Yeah.
And that is how you're going to be addressed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the shirts you put on, then, or the clothes you wear, that is your brand.
Yeah.
How you deliver your values inside, plus the outlook, that is your brand. So we say everyone is branding every day. If you walked in the room, first time before saying any word, I've already built a concept of you without even saying, just looking at you. This guy has really nice outfit. He looks knowledgeable. Probably you have glasses, like, oh, probably is also
a nerd.
Right. So I've already built a brand of you
by the perception that I've
in my head.
Yeah.
So it's your role to work backwards to make me change that.
Oh.
Because if you don't do it,
unless I agree with you, isn't it?
Yes.
Unless I agree with the perception that you've had.
Exactly.
Right.
So the question is, how strategic can you be to actually fit in the already existing image
that is portrayed out there in people's minds?
Because you've branded already.
So branding is automatic. Whether you like it or not, you are a walking brand.
Of course.
And by the way, earlier on we say that societies these days are actually accepting this idea of changing careers and so on. Is it the same with branding? Because earlier on, a few years back, branding was a major thing only for multinationals,
Yes.
and corporates, and so on and so forth. Today, don't you think that even personal branding, as in an individual, just like you've said, they have got to take enough care of their brand the same way corporates are taking care of their brands?
So the investment is the same. The investment around self-awareness, self-discovery, that's branding.
Yeah.
I have morphed my entire career differently because I always struggled on what exactly I offer. I am someone who's rooted in creative, but with tech, right? I can't be a jack of all trades, right? So taking time to understand what my service is, not career, but the service. I would say with technology, I'll deliver ABC, but not so many people understand me. But I'm going to say, okay, let me help people discover their brands. Let me help people discover who they are and who they serve and what they are serving. That is something that's something worth exploration.
You know what you're talking about, Ivan, is deeper than what people think about branding. Because you're talking about, I could even say you're talking about purpose.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
Yes.
You can't brand where there is no purpose, right?
No, you can't.
It can't necessarily work.
I have been in a position where someone comes in and says, hey, I need you to help me with my brand, and I will humbly reject that offer. However juicy that deal is. Yeah. Because I'm not going to help you. I need to understand why you're doing that. Right? Branding strategically. I talked about it yesterday with some of my friends. It is an equivalent of building a billboard, putting a billboard on the high street, but except it is in people's heads. So when you walk in, like, oh, that's Lawrence, the guy who does this. Oh, that guy is actually kind. That guy is actually smart. You should talk to him. And then someone comes in, a different Lawrence. That's Lawrence. I really hate that guy. He doesn't speak well. Yeah. That's branding. Yeah. So the same with the personal sort of branding would be carried forward for the business. In this case, you have to strategically fix your why, your values, and everything that you do in that regard. Simple as that.
So what we are learning from you today, because we're talking about a strategy for the rest of the year and so on and so forth. What we're learning from you today is that before you can put fonts,
those
colors,
those are easy.
Logos,
those are easy.
Those are the easiest business cards. Those are the easiest things. Spend a bit of time to clarify why exactly
you're doing what you're doing.
That tells me, that also informs me the idea of business is not necessarily, from what I hear you saying, the idea of business is not necessarily, first of all, to make money.
No, that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, what should be the case?
The case is serving. Yeah. Let me just put it in perspective. The most profitable sectors right now, health, food. And you know why? Because people get sick every day, and you have to serve them to fix their health. And people get hungry with or without money. You can't control that. Yeah. And you have to serve them. It's very, very simple. You have to understand what you're serving vis-a-vis the promise you're making.
So the idea of doing business to make money goes against brand strategy.
Yes. Now, yes, you can make a profit of a business.
Yeah.
Good. But you find that your alignment is actually in service of people. Either with saving them time, you close, maybe with costs, helping them save some money. You won't look at it in that regard, but those are some of the things you're actually doing every single day. You will not define them, but those are actually your whys. Right?
Yeah.
So you might say, oh, I don't need a brand strategy because guess what? I'm making money already. Yes, you are, but it's because what you're doing, people are actually finding value in it.
At the back of it all.
Yes.
You cannot circumnavigate the idea of serving.
No.
There is no making a profit unless you stick a gun on my face. But that's not profit.
Exactly.
Yeah. So for you, Ivan, at what point in time did you realize, hey, wait a minute, this is it for me? In terms of now you're serving clients and so on, they normally say, what was your break? At what point did you catch a break?
I think it is again around self discovery. If anything, and I'm very strong at that, if anything, the best investment anyone will ever do for themselves will be around self-discovery. That's the best investment you ever. What pisses you off? And
what
how
brings
do you
you
work?
joy?
What gives you happiness?
Yeah.
What if you're looking at a job with just the reason of doing a job, you'll never be satisfied. Let me just put in perspective. If we have issues, like you probably stay in a house of $1 million,
Yeah.
and I stay in a
month.
house maybe of $1,000. Stay there, and we're all being frustrated by rent. The economy is bad. If you navigate around and find your rent, and I also do find mine, how can you quantify the happiness? You can't, because it's the same.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
It doesn't weigh heavier on the scale.
You can't say, "Oh, I got my
happiness.
$1,000 for my rent.
Yeah.
I am so happy, and I'm even happier than the one of $1 million."
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
never.
It's
Even
the
if it's
same.
200, it is always the same. So
Nice.
the concept is carried forward in every single thing you do.
Yeah.
It's period. That's it.
Yeah.
So when you get to understand what actually gives you joy,
Yeah.
I mean, people go to bars to drink,
Yeah.
and I used to.
Mm.
Until when I got to this realization of like, wait a minute, I pay a lot of money to barely listen to anyone. People are shouting at the top of their lungs, and I've actually paid for that stuff.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense to me. I don't go to concerts anymore
Yeah.
because of that reason. And then you come back home, now you nasa hangover that you
created,
for.
you paid for. Okay.
It didn't make sense to me, and I
Yeah.
stopped. Am I happy or am I less
happy because you don't go there anymore?
No, I'm equally happy as the person is yelling at the top of their lungs in a concert, which is also okay. The difference is
Your self-awareness.
I am self-aware
Yeah.
of why I'm doing certain things and why I'm not doing the others.
Yeah.
So those reasons sort of ground me to do even what I do, right? I have an advertising agency. I partnered with a few brilliant minds, two brilliant minds. And everything that we do, we even choose the people we work with, even the clients we take on. We are a social impact organization. If you don't have impact, we don't work with you. If it's just for profit, like, hey, help me push this out and lie about what you do, we won't do it. Because
the authenticity is important for you.
It has to be that, hey, I'm doing this to help solve this problem, and I guarantee you money is going to come. Money will come. If you find a problem and solve it, money is going to come. Now the problem comes in when the high-end CEO says, we need sales. That's a very important aspect of a business. That shouldn't be the case. What are you solving? I mean, I keep on using this example. All these prominent brands that are now stationed in people's heads didn't wake up and say, hey, we have a projection of $20 billion. No.
They
said,
say there's
hey,
a problem here.
we need to fix it. And there's a number of people that
Yeah.
have the same issue. How can we fix it?
Like now MTN, we need to connect people.
Thank you. So it's not about...
We need to make
and
money.
that value cuts across every single thing they do. Facebook says, hey, we need to help people connect to each other.
Yeah.
And that's why you still see, hey, people you might know. That is in their DNA.
Yeah.
Every single thing you see. Facebook for developers, still connecting. WhatsApp, still connecting. Instagram, still connecting and sharing experiences. Around one value.
Yeah.
Not anything. Everything else is noise to me as a brand strategist. If you deviate, I don't think your brand is going to stay long unless you define the why, stick to it, and build pipeline for you to grow that brand. That is as simple as that. Now, there are so many things that happen within, like psychology, like resonating with people's hearts, building,
the people you're
and
serving.
exactly, because when you're a good person, you don't say, hey, I'm a good person. You're supposed to express how good you are. So then that is one of the ways you say, hey, I'm good, and here's how.
I see.
Okay.
Is there the need for always doing the brand strategy? It's not something you do once and you forget about it?
So it's the same thing as the road on discovery. So people are receptive to so many different things. Like, let me just give an example. You might say you're helping connecting people, but the way you're telling people that, hey, I help connect people is different. So the same way we're conversing right now, and you understand me. Now, how do you converse? How do you have the same conversation with 1 million people and they understand you? So the difference is not within the brand strategy, the original idea of the values, but how the value is then disseminated in people's heads.
But that it goes back to I mean, you've got to be always aware of the brand strategy.
Thank you.
Every single time. It's a living thing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's a live brand strategy. It's a day by day thing.
Yeah.
It's not something we do on January 1st, and then we forget about it.
So yes, you can't wake up and just stop.
Yeah.
It's like growth. And people keep on evolving, just like businesses. Even ideas. I have a friend who keep on saying, ideas are bulletproof. So ideas grow, right? They're like babies. They grow. They can easily outgrow you. Whereas the values stay if you do not have ground rules. Now that's a strategy to help you achieve the things you said you wanted to achieve. Then that becomes a bit hard, right? So that's the strategy that grounds you. Like, hey, guess what? Hey, wait, we are having A, B, C, D, and now we need support to talk to these 3, 4, 5 people. How do we do that? The values are not changing, nothing is changing, but you're saying, for me to reach with this person, I think they're most interested in color purple because psychology says so. Then you morph your brand in that regard because that's where the concentration of people are. And then you say, what are their needs? How do they consume information? And then you develop a strategy, a comms strategy based on the brand strategy to disseminate your information. What you're trying to say, hey, I'm this person and I do A, B, C, D. See me. Yeah,
I hear you. We've talked quite a lot about. If we stopped here, the take home is the why.
Yes.
Why are you doing this? And also the serving.
Yes.
But now let's probably go into the technicalities of brand strategy. Of course, we already say that we're talking about corporates as well as individuals. Are there elements of brand strategy in the technical way that we need to be aware of? Where does it start? I mean, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. So it's quite intensive, right? I mean, I have a whole master's in brand management, so it took me quite some time to get to the technicalities of how it happens. But it is broken down in just simple ways.
Right.
Identifying your why, right? That is the big problem. Then there's what we call the cultural truth, right? You are saying you're solving this problem. Are you the only one? And what's the cultural truth about what you're doing? Right? And how do you morph this big problem that you're solving for people to recognize it?
What is cultural truth?
So let me just give an example. I had to give, let's say MTN is not the first telco to come to Uganda, right? There was another one, I won't mention the name, but there was a conversation that I'm sure MTN was one day in a board meeting, and they said, one day you will have to only pay for airtime and just punch in the numbers and then you call someone. Back in the day when we used to have service fee. And people laughed and ridiculed at the idea. Were they communicating the values? Yes. Were people ready? No. That's the cultural truth. Back in the day, you wouldn't come and tell me there is a possibility of a podcast and not radio. It is a problem you're solving, but the culture
is not caught up with it yet.
So you need to understand your cultural truth. What I'm doing, I'm actually let me just give an example of a very nice prominent brand, Broad. Broad is breads. They do really nice pastries. Broad doesn't just sell pastries. The idea came from enabling home bakers, women, to help them sell the bread. That's the story.
Whoa.
You get. So Whereas everyone sells muffins and bread, I still buy from Broad.
Because you there's a why behind
I'm
it.
attached to their
You're not just doing a transaction,
No.
5,000 shillings, give me bread.
Mhm.
You are thinking about the woman who is baking it.
Yes.
Oh, you guy. Nice.
So they would then say, this is our why and this is our story. We're not just making bread. We're giving you daily bread and you're supporting other families. So whereas you're taking in your daily bread, someone else is also taking in theirs. That is the ethos. That is what they believe in. And they're going with that.
Awesome.
So you think about the culture truth. Are people going to be receptive? If you're a baker, are you the only one? This problem is huge, but there are so many. The country has 44 million people. What makes you different? And how do you build an image in this culture?
So the difference you're trying to make has to resonate with some aspects of the cultural truth.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. Then
how about when the culture of the day hasn't necessarily caught up with what you want to do?
So there is going to be an element. So you're not going to start with 1 million people.
Yeah.
So that's when the brand strategy comes in, and then there's an element of consistency.
So you start communicating
and communicate consistently.
How what you want to do.
Exactly.
Right?
It's very simple.
I remember when we introduced mobile money. If I told you today that people did not want mobile money in 2009, you'll think I'm lying.
Exactly. But look at where we are now.
Right now, it's like everyone has the thing. But in 2009, I can tell you, we were chased out of some places.
Yeah, boardrooms are like,
what
what are you talking about? how can I move money from this phone to another and I can receive in cash?
Yeah.
It is impossible to digest.
Yeah. So there's that element of the you call it cultural?
The cultural truth.
Cultural truth.
Yes.
So if I am creating my brand, I have already known my why. But I have to also know that my why doesn't operate in a vacuum.
Exactly.
There is a culture in which it operates.
There's sort of a bubble.
Yes.
And this is how I'm grounded to it.
Yeah.
You can't just go and talk to anyone.
Yeah.
And once you identify the cultural truth, it's going to help you figure out your first believer. And then you say, okay, Lawrence really believes in my craft and the things that I say, because that is true. You should be honest with yourself. So Lawrence believes in stuff that. How can I get 200 Lawrences?
Not how can I get 1 million people.
No.
You're looking at a Lawrence. One believer.
Jesus had only 12 disciples.
Yeah.
Only. Look at where we are now.
Yeah.
Only 12. So the same concept, and it's very simple. This is a natural law. The things we keep on telling ourselves are pegged back to how we are and how we're supposed to live. They're not shortcuts.
My goodness.
It's very simple. When I said you have a very good idea that I believe in, you will believe in it because I believe in it. If I lie, I have to protect that lie with another lie. And it is now an endless loop from here. But if I told you the truth, that is my truth, and this is how I deliver it.
Truth is freedom. I don't have to protect it.
Nah, nothing.
I don't have to protect myself.
So that is very simple.
Yeah.
You build your why, identify your cultural truth, speak to that culture, speak to that group consistently.
Yeah.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
I'm actually solving 1, 2, 3, and people actually recognize you. And you don't expect to build a brand in a day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's a year's thing.
Exactly.
It's decades.
Thank you. So people know you as someone who puts on very nice polo shirts.
Yeah.
And if you changed and came in a kanzu, we would be worried.
Yeah, like what's going on?
That's the thing, because that's the brand you've built.
So for example, Lawrence is motivating people, inspiring people,
yes,
and all that stuff. And then now I show up one day and I am giving people influenza injections.
Thank you. I would really be weird. The same thing you said, like, I wouldn't look at you as a priest. How? So,
yeah.
You see, even the Innovation Village started as one organization that helps entrepreneurs. The key word is helping
entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, wait. How do we even help the others? We're still supporting. We have not deviated from our why. It is still there. But we're now saying there are some people that are left. How do we help? Because the Innovation Village has a brand of helping people in technology. We may not use that for creatives, but how do we extend our supporting arm to these sectors? You find that one thing that still grounds us is the why. Why are you doing what you do? That's the blueprint, not your business model, how you're going to make money. Those things can come. You have a community, find a way to monetize it. That's fine. That's your job for your salesperson to figure out. You as the
founder, the owner of the vision.
Just sell the vision. Just make sure people understand your why.
Whoa.
That's as simple as that. I've seen this gentleman of Cafe Javas from Mandela Group. The guy serves tea in his restaurants. He actually
the owner himself. Yeah.
Yes, because he knows why. Right?
So he found a believer.
Yes.
And then he multiplied them.
Yes. It's very simple.
You noticed, remember how powerful finding a believer and multiplying them. You remember a few months back, could be a year or so, when someone made a fake story about Cafe Javas.
Yes.
They found what was it? A rat
in a milkshake.
In a milkshake. What happened? Believers
started protecting the brand.
Exactly.
Why? Because there's nothing to hide.
Yeah.
It has always been transparency.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
You do that. The things. Let me just give a small story. I ran my family the way I run a business.
Okay.
The professionalism.
Yeah.
If I'm organized with Excel sheets and presentations, why can't I get organized at home?
Yeah.
Right? It's a lie for me to do things
at work,
and then I'm practicing differently at home.
Whoa.
I have a presentation on how to run a family.
Whoa.
I have roles, my woman's roles, my daughter's role, my son's role, and they know. Just give an example. My kids are on allowance.
Yeah.
Every month they take home a payment.
Yeah.
For their good deeds. And I've never given my kids money. Why? Because they should have their own money. They get paid every month. So we're walking in the supermarket and other kids say, my son says, hey, I need to buy this. I will ask, do you have money?
Oh.
If you do, then I'm going to pay for it. And when you get back home, you pay me back.
Yeah. So it's
accountability.
Yeah.
It is, hey, there are no shortcuts. This is my dad, but there's no obligation. I am supposed to.
It's also teaching responsibility.
Exactly.
This idea of people going to school for 25 years
yes.
and they have never earned a dime.
Exactly.
And then you usher them into this chaotic world to start figuring it out.
It's hard.
So you're doing a marvelous job there.
They have their own. And that's the same thing. Because they know what they're supposed to do and they know it's going to turn into something monetary. They're going to do it. But with love, because then I also have my roles.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, hey, you do that, I'll pay you.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
You contribute and nature will reward you.
Yeah.
All right?
Okay.
That's it. And you move freely, and then there's going to be contribution. I remember there was a time my daughter said, okay, I need to save up some money for my brother's birthday. And that came from her. So, and she's only 9. So I found that the things we didn't get opportunities to know about serving, it's the reward that comes back. It's a nature's law. It's very simple, plain. You get. It's simple.
You don't have to be a born again Christian.
No.
It's a law, it's a principle.
Jesus didn't die and says, hey everyone, become a Catholic.
Yeah.
He says serve God and love your neighbor. Period.
My goodness. Yeah.
I don't look at religion. I don't look at who or the color or this and that. Just serve.
Humanity.
Just serve. Like if you're doing branding or brand management like I do, I look at you and I figure out how to help you. Yeah. Even if it's hard, it's a hard conversation to have. Like, hey, I don't think people are going to be receptive to this. How about you figure out the reason why? If you're doing it for the money, it's going to be a bit hard. Might catch up. You might discover your why. In the long run, it's going to be hard.
Let me tell you a story. There's a time you did for me a cover for a book I was doing, an ebook I was doing, Purpose to Profit. I gave you an idea of what I want to do and so on. You did for me a cover. I was in a hurry to do it and so on. I didn't like it. I don't know if you remember, there was a back and forth.
Yes.
I didn't like it. And I was like, I don't like this, and so on and so forth. Maybe few weeks down the line, guys looked at this thing and they said, this is brilliant. It fits exactly to the title. How did you do it? I was very embarrassed to tell them that I didn't like it. So what you're saying is that you have that idea of perceiving what is needed from the why. That's why you inculcate the brand strategy inside of it.
I don't believe there's such a thing as a bad design.
Yeah?
It's just supposed to communicate.
Yeah.
Then the rules that govern the communications are the ones that make the design beautiful.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
I want to say, hey, how do I discover myself? Then I fit myself in someone who wants to be discovered, not you, the client. I'm not here to make you happy.
You're here to make the person I'm serving happy.
Thank you.
So it's not up to me.
No. Now that's the problem businesses have.
And another thing, sorry for cutting you. So it will be foolhardy for me as Lawrence. Let's say I'm doing a book. Foolhardy for me as Lawrence to create my own book cover.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for the guys who are going to read the book. And the person who has the idea or the ability to do it is someone who is professional in it.
Thank you. So people have the thinking of, okay, how do I fit my shoes in the and businesses are short of that, right? Because they're trying to make time to build and all these services without taking a step back to understand who they're serving. So the challenge is then, who helps you see through that lens? So when you come to me the first time, I'm going to ask you a million questions.
Yeah. It's not just about colors and logos and designs and so on. But again, let's talk about those colors, logos and designs, even as we're coming to a close of this episode. How critical are they?
They are critical.
Yeah.
Close to it is you. So I use this example when it comes to like the brand representation, because that's what we're talking about now. The brand representation is when you are hitting, like, even the biggest atheist, when they get like the biggest challenge, they run back either to nature or God, not to themselves. It's that naked consciousness when you are, Jesus Christ, I messed up. Right? The questions you ask yourself. Then you have the answers, and then you take it out. You take those answers out. That's the brand. So you have your ideas, give them clothes. I want to be seen. In my opening remarks, I mentioned that the way you dress is the way you want to be addressed.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to be addressed professionally, dress up professionally. If I'm speaking to an audience of young people, and those are people that I'm going to speak to, I'm supposed to dress up like them so they get to recognize me as their tribe. Simple. So colors, very important. But what colors and how do they inform? That's the psychology behind it. How do they inform on your why and the people you're talking to? They're cliche models, of course. Pink is for women, but there's also psychological perspective to that. I would say I'm going to build a tech service, and psychology says people are more receptive on color blue, right? And then I have to pick that up and say, okay, what about being respected? Do I still stay a respected brand, or am I a luxury brand? People want to see me as a luxury brand. And then I will look at luxury colors and their psychology.
There's a whole range of psychology behind colors and shapes and so on and so forth.
And pegged to the business aspirations.
Yeah.
Yes.
So even as we're coming to a close, there could be guys, Ivan, out there that maybe wanted you to mentor them. Maybe they're guys coming out of college, coming out of school, and they want to do what you're doing.
Yes.
You are not a graphic designer.
No.
You are a brand strategist.
Yes.
And more, isn't it?
Yes, that's true.
Graphic designing is a small element.
It's the tiniest. I don't know if
the tiniest element of of brand strategy,
Yes.
right? So if someone is calling themselves, I'm a graphic designer, probably they're doing themselves a disservice. You can't just say I'm a graphic designer, because graphic design is about the tail end
Yes.
of all that stuff. What does it take for a young man or a young woman to become an exemplary brand strategist?
So graphic design can be a career.
Yeah.
It's good. You have someone to help you idealize the brand strategy. It's fine. They don't have to be a graphic designer.
Okay.
Like I mentioned earlier, I just happen to know quite a number of things, including graphic design.
Yeah.
But you can be a graphic designer, and you're good with that.
Yeah.
But you're not well with strategizing. Strategy is
you're good with this graphics, visuals, and so on.
Then get
you're
someone
talented in
to
it.
help you.
But it's
understand.
It's part of something bigger.
Exactly.
That's what you're communicating.
Yes.
So there are very many guys who are very good at that.
Yes.
They can create the colors, the logos. They're
Yes.
very creative at that.
Yes.
But in and of itself is not enough.
No.
Okay.
It's never enough. So the idea is, even brand strategies out there that are not creatives, because it's also possible, it's actually common, then are supposed to communicate clearly
to the
graphic designer. Like, hey, this is my goal. This is what I want to achieve. And this is the whole 5 to 10 year strategy. This is what I want to achieve in the next 10 years. Then think about stuff like that. So, but there's a back and forth in that regard. Would I advise a graphic designer to think strategically? Definitely.
Yeah.
But take time to understand yourself first as an individual, and then figure out if that's what you want. Because brand strategy, it's a lot more than just
colors.
Yeah. It is seeing through a lens of someone who wants to actually solve a problem and help them achieve that. You work with quite a number of people. You work with creatives. You work with communications experts.
Yeah.
How your message is going to be communicated, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Then how the brand fits into the narrative of communication.
Yeah.
And how do you dissect the platforms, how people are going to receive this information. Then you have your brand strategy idea.
Right.
But for graphic designers, you can still build a very good, promising graphic design career. It's really good. I would just ask that you keep on talking to brand strategists, to talk to individuals that think beyond the creative, and that will help you inform on if you want to pursue that, or if you want to serve building the other ideas to life. It's also something that you can actually build as a creative or a graphic designer.
Okay. So I know there's quite a bit of information that we can go into and so on, and time doesn't allow us to do that. But you said you have an advertising agency.
Yes.
You're building brands for people, and you're biased towards social change and social transformation. Probably there are people out there who have their own organizations, and maybe even individuals who fit into the profile that you've already discussed, and they wanted to have a brand strategy for their lives or for their companies this year going forward, right? How do they get to Ivan, and what are the steps?
So Ivan is on all socials. Sewajje Ivan on LinkedIn, Twitter.
How do you spell
Sewajje? Is Sewajje.
Right.
Ivan. And then I'm just happy to support, because then I work for the Innovation Village currently as the brand manager, head of brand, and part of our deliverables are to help people like you. So just walk into the village and we'll be able to support you. I will start a conversation for free. Then also for those guys that would like to have maybe a conversation at a coffee, you can reach me on my email, sewajjeivan@gmail.com, and the number 773 63 65 32.
That's plus 256.
Yes.
773
63 65 32.
All right. Well, so any last words for someone who doesn't have a brand? My last words would be, there's no such thing as fulfilling as serving. You can opiate, you can drink as much alcohol as you want, but one rule, and I hate to bring this back to believing in God. One, serve your neighbor. So you love yourself.
Love your neighbor and serve your neighbor. That's very simple. And again, nature, live as nature intended. Don't try hard on yourself. Just live as nature intended. If you feel you need to do things, try and refer to the rules of nature. What does nature say?
Yeah.
Right? And in the context of belief, nature is God.
Right.
So if you're having trouble believing in God, look at it as nature.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we've come to the close of today's episode. We've been talking to Sewajje Ivan. He's a brand strategist at Innovation Village and Movit. Motive. Movit is another brand.
That's another brand.
Yeah. And you've heard from the horse's mouth. I hope that you've enjoyed this. If it blesses you and you know that it's instructive, please share it with as many people as possible. Next week, we talk to another brand strategist. But until then, bye-bye and God bless you. All right.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.